The social justice cult is falling apart as the world faces a real crisis. What have I been saying for years? SJWs are a first world problem. They came to be because you have groups of privileged upper middle class people who have no real problems in their life, so they manufacture problems for other people. But now that there is effectively a real crisis going on, all of a sudden, nobody gives a fuck about these made up social justice first world problems. Nobody cared anyway, even back then. But some people were pretending to care. But now, nobody wants to hear you fucking bitch about your first world problems while people are actually struggling with what they're going to do to get food because they can't make money anymore because they lived paycheck to paycheck and they were working hourly and their workplace is shut down. You really think anyone has time to give a fuck that you think air conditioners are sexist? Get fucked. The social justice set has been shrieking about lives being at risk for almost a decade. But now that we're faced with actual devastation of the human way of life, it becomes clear that it was always only rhetoric. Social justice is the culture that cried wolf. Yep. I wouldn't say that social justice didn't cry wolf. I say it manufactured its own wolves. Social justice is the culture that airlifted wolves from states away just to unleash them upon the town so they can cry wolf. That's what social justice really is. They're doing more than just crying wolf. They brought the wolf there to begin with. There was no wolf until they showed up. Now that lives are truly at risk as a result of a global pandemic, quick action is being implemented in North America to protect the most vulnerable. Instead of supporting these common sense, ideally temporary changes, good luck, required to get through this unprecedented time, the Church of Social Justice is actually jealous of the beer virus. It turns out that no one was ever going to die from being misgendered or experiencing a microaggression. Imagine that. Yeah, shocking truth, right, guys? Now, think pieces abound as to how the beer virus is misogynist because more Whammons are at home and stuck doing the domestic labor, or transphobic since trans-affirming surgeries have been postponed or outright canceled. Yeah, these people are trying to say, but trans surgery is required. No, it's essential. No, it's not. It's a luxury of the first world is what it is. And now the story is that it took the beer virus pandemic to show us how quickly we could change, if only we really wanted to. The Toronto Star gender and race columnist Shri, what a inappropriate fucking name. So Shri Pradakar writes, so this is what radical change looks like and feels like, how swiftly the machinery can move when it cares about the lives at risk. Correction, Miss Pradakar. This is how fast the machinery can move when there are actual lives at risk. There's a huge difference between a minority portion of the population predicting gloom and the end times, whether it be religious doomsday cults or Extinction Rebellion. I mean, there's really no difference there. They're both religious doomsday cults. And a global pandemic that crashes across borders. Totally the same thing. The sweep of the beer virus across our map has indeed made us change our ways, but certainly that is not for the better. I agree. Now, it sucks that we are forced to do this. Hiding out in our homes and watching the world turn, quarantining on the internet while eating cans of beans, keeping 6 feet of distance, waiting to get sick, unable to go to work on a penalty of fine, prohibited from seeing friends and family. This is not better. Well, to be fair, most of that I was already doing even before this. So I'm actually perfectly fine with it. Now, I feel sorry for the people who were living paycheck to paycheck and now they don't get paid anymore. But almost everybody else, you can live with it, most likely. So fixing the environment or whatever other pet cause is not worth the disruption to free commerce, local culture, or lives, or society at large. Hey, I would say even this is too far, but this is more important than way more important than social justice. But then again, what isn't? So the social justice set is so intent on hating the course of humanity at large that they are practically advocating for the kind of massive upheavals that the beer virus pandemic is forcing us to endure. The reason we have not upended society and stopped the course of progress previously is precisely because of the destruction we are currently seeing on the human-built infrastructure that we so painstakingly constructed. Small businesses are dying, and whether they will come back is an eventuality no one can predict. Hey, there's one small business that's in the process of being created, that being Sick Fox Studios, as we're working on Blade Devil. So some may die, but others will rise from the ashes to replace them. So while Marvel and DC are probably going to be gone by the end of this year or the beginning of next year, we will be there to replace them. We will actually give people shit they want. Your restaurants, shops, startups are all shuttering. Is this really what social justice advocates would have us do years ago? Yes. Yeah, see, that's the thing they don't get about equality. Because some people are just fucking stupid. You're never going to be able to pull them up to the level of the rich elite unless they get lucky and win the lottery. So if you want quote unquote equality, the only way you can achieve it is to drag everybody down to the lowest common denominator. That's always what social justice has been about. That's always been their goal. Their goal isn't to rise up the poor. Their goal is to drag down the rich, drag everybody down to the lowest common denominator. That's what they've always wanted. Yes, this is what they really would have us do. The human hive is a delicate one. Its destruction is a tragedy that should not be met with joy by activists that would have us revolt and bring the scourge of shuttered factories and disrupted supply lines down upon us sooner. As cases creep closer to us all, sneak into our neighborhoods and ruin livelihoods, activists take up a scolding attitude telling us we should have done this sooner. Hey, you know what? Fine. Let's just take this to its logical conclusion. If everybody just died now, we'd never have another problem like this again. We'd finally have world peace too. For our part, those of us who reject social justice and embrace freedom, we'd like our lives back as soon as possible. Agreed. It's only when people are unable to get dinner on the table, to work, to feed their families, and move about freely that radical change occurs. We don't need it otherwise. There was no reason to step down this path before. Now, this is actually a very dangerous attitude. This is what led to Venezuela. Yeah, because they let their government become what it became because, we're still alive. We're still getting fed. There's no reason to resist. And then by the time it got so bad, they had to resist. They didn't have the ability to. And when it leaves us, much of what we are losing during this pandemic will be returned to us. Ideally, once again, the Patriot Act was supposed to be temporary as well. We still have it. So we will be able to embrace, to stand and talk, to go to school, to work, restaurants, bars, shake hands, and lead lives where we aren't masked in fear. No, this is current year. It's all about living in fear. Look at the media. With Rolling Stone and Vice running headlines like how social distancing could lead to a spike in white national... Really? Really? I really hope these... Now, as far as businesses that need to go out of business, this is an example. And as hospitals prepare for beer virus, life-saving trans surgeries are delayed. Yeah, that's the most important thing right now. That you can't get a chopodictomy. Okay. With an astonishing number of woke scribes actually actively rooting for the beer virus safety measures to fail because it would look bad for Trump, we see just how deeply unserious these people actually are. Yeah, they're a joke. They are a fucking joke. So the entire game of regressivist cultists was to convince everyone that they were the vulnerable ones. An actual crisis has exposed their grift, and they are not happy. And most people are so dumb, they're just going to forget about this soon anyway. So these regressives have nothing to worry about. Yeah, sure, they may enjoy the totalitarian redistribution of wealth and power of it all, but it's for the wrong cause. Social justice cultists advocated for all of this overreach and centralized power in order to control what was ideologically acceptable, despite the fact that it would ruin ordinary people's lives. How depressing it must be for them to see the governments implement strict social controls in the name of saving lives instead. Yeah, that must be fucking tragic, huh? Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.